Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Sunday night. Hope everybody's having a great evening so far. Chiefs and the Bengals. Holy weekend. That sounded terrible in my voice. We're going to make it through this game, this show together if I can keep keep things on the rails. Chiefs up 20-13 in the fourth quarter. Right now, with Cincinnati getting ready to try and equalize this game. Going to be interesting, but we know one Super Bowl participant. We know two players, former Tennessee Titans, who are going to make their first Super Bowl appearance. Tonight, we're going to discuss that as the Bengals are able to get into the end zone. We'll see if they can't tie this up with an extra point. 19-20 right now with that extra point pending. We're going to talk about the two former Titans who are Super Bowl bound and discuss at length together. We'll talk about which team you're more interested in hate watching, potentially, should they make it to the Super Bowl on the AFC side of things. It's a Sunday night, so we will do this as a free site, the best thing that I saw on the internet this weekend, and enjoy our time together as we always do. Before we need to go, though, before we need to get up and rolling, need you guys to share this show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show. It's at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're on Facebook Live, like Mike McCowan or Michael Webb, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left. YouTube or Twitch, like Eric White or Jibo Hedges, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and we would be grateful for you that way. Be an interesting final quarter that we're going to talk about together as we find out who this year's Super Bowl participants are going to be. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Superbook Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, where you go for all new non-specialty Ford vehicles sold below MSRP. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage, GaryAshton.com is where you go for your dream address. Without the stress, they will put you in position to succeed with the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. Superbook Sports, football winding down, but you can still get in on the action with the NBA, the NHL, and everything in between. So download the Superbook app today, and they'll match your first bet up to $1,000. And TrueMav Fitness, a new way to work out, a better way to work out for you in this new year. Go to TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free. So looking at all the different situations that we've talked about this season long, I think we all could agree that the final four teams heading into today's championship round were the best remaining of the bunch. Now, for the 49ers, they fell flat. The Brock Purdy situation, him injuring his elbow on the very first drive of the NFC Championship game, not an ideal situation. They had to go to Josh Johnson. Purdy came back in, but they were unable and incapable of doing anything with their passing game. So Philadelphia rolled through. Now in the AFC, obviously the stakes are much higher and the game is far more interesting with Cincinnati and Kansas City tied in KC 20-20 at this point, but an interesting discussion as far as who these two teams who these two teams might be in the final game of the season and kind of where we go from here, and the interest level of Titans fans in seeing two players maybe, go on to succeed and get a ring. Who do you want to see play the Eagles in the Super Bowl, though, as we enter the fourth quarter in the AFC Championship game? That's where we'll start tonight. It's your Two Rivers Ford take. Let me know in the comments section, and we will discuss at length together who you are most interested in seeing go up against Philadelphia, A.J. Brown, and Brett Kern at this time, who we'll spend a little time on later on in the show. Your Two Rivers Ford take is always made possible by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, where you go for all 2023 new model year Fords, whether you want to test drive an F-150, a Bronco Sport, an electric Mustang Mach-E. Two Rivers Ford has all of the best 2023 models available for you and quality American-made Ford vehicles at any time that you desire. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So who do you want to see play the Eagles in this season's Super Bowl? 2 weeks to go now after this AFC Championship game concludes. Just over 13 minutes to play with the score tied 20-20 at this point. It's going to be fascinating to see how all this breaks down in the final moments. Patrick Mahomes doing his best on a hobbled ankle. The Chiefs defense playing a decent game up until the second half, really. Defense has been the story of this one with them turning Joe Burrow over early, but obviously he's a very, very difficult player to slow down. For William Romer, he wants to see the Bengals advance to the Super Bowl for the second straight season. I know a lot of people have ill will towards the Cincinnati Bengals and the Philadelphia Eagles for very different reasons. Steven 1986 says the Chiefs, get ready for the refs screwed us crowd. Chiefs, says Marlo Painter as well. Joe Michael Swing would like to see the Bengals go on to the Super Bowl yet again. I think the best possible game would be the Bengals, just because they are a healthier football team right now, and the quarterback situation for Kansas City is always something that you have to take into account. Patrick Mahomes doing his best on that ankle right now, had a really strong first half, and now seeing Isaiah Pacheco banged up a little bit. Looks like he's struggling. They have been trying to survive a couple of different injuries throughout, not just this season, obviously, as many NFL teams do, but throughout the course of this game. And so as we look at who is the best matchup between these two teams, I think in all likelihood, you have to consider that Cincinnati would be the better game, even though Philadelphia looks overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming at this point. And that is certainly something that I think we can all attest to now, having seen them in 2 postseason games just roll their opponents.
Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fly. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit them low, hit them high, and watch those Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory.
All right, so I can't say much for Jalen Hurts' singing voice, but still, Philadelphia has been unbelievably good so far against the Giants, coming out of their first-round bye, and now handling the San Francisco 49ers with relative ease after their quarterback situation fell to absolute pieces. AtoZSports Primetime is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. GaryAshton.com is where you go for your dream address without the stress. The Ashton team will always go above and beyond to make sure you get that intel edge you need to succeed. That intel edge helps you sell your home without any showings or staging, helps you find your next one while you sell your current one in this red-hot Nashville real estate market, helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Go to GaryAshton.com for the team that your favorite teams trust. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage, the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators and AtoZSports Primetime. Steve Roberts says, holy shit, I can't unhear that, talking about fly, Eagles flying. Yes, not the most harmonious rendition, but still, they get to sound however they want because they're kicking everybody's asses right now. For Philadelphia, I really do think that it's their year to win. They seem to be the most overwhelming thing left in the postseason as we continue through this. And once we saw them come out of their first round bye without really missing a hitch, the Jalen Hurts shoulder situation doesn't seem to, be hindering them too much. They run the ball so effectively that the passing game is such an ancillary part of this. And even when he drops back to pass, he is not getting touched by anybody. They have the most overwhelming offensive line and defensive line in football, it would seem. And for whomever advances to the Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Bengals, it is going to be a difficult test at this stage. Jibo says, Hurts been killing it. Good for him. Absolutely. Absolutely good for Jalen Hurts. I think he's proven himself. He's acquitted himself well. They gave him all the parts and pieces around him for him to be able to do so, and he's risen to the occasion. It's truly, I think Jalen Hurts is one of the better stories in football this year, and obviously he's paying dividends for that franchise who's done well to build around him, and that fan base that is ravenous for a second Super Bowl after having not been in an NFC championship game since 2017 and obviously getting their first Super Bowl win with Doug Peterson a few years ago. But let's talk about two of the participants in this year's Super Bowl. Which team will you hate watch more if they advance, the Bengals or the Eagles? I know people have a particular lack of affinity for Cincinnati here in Tennessee, but Philadelphia obviously is your scorned lover, your scorned ex out here, trotting around publicly with their new arm candy for the whole world to see and getting ready to do it on football's biggest stage. Which team will you hate watch more of as a Titans fan, the Bengals or the Eagles? I think both are hateable for Titans fans for a variety of different reasons. We know the AJ storyline. We know the Tannehill versus Cincinnati situation that caused you guys so much angst last season. Now, there's no telling that Cincinnati is going to advance, and there's still over 10 minutes to play, and Kansas City currently has the ball. Their inability to kind of get things going, to bust this thing open the way that we have seen Patrick Mahomes do in years past, is not something that this team has been able to do effectively today, and the Cincinnati defense has played well to hold them up. Demetrius says Eagles. Thanks, J-Rob. He's still bitter about the A.J. Brown situation. Major Keys says the Bengals are his hate watch team. Kansas City probably going to be the Bengals for the first time, probably going to beat the Bengals for the first time. That's from Big Dog on YouTube. But I'm not asking who's going to win this game. I'm asking which team are you most interested in hate watching? Because whenever you see A.J. Brown on your screen, on your Twitter timelines, I know it has to irk you just slightly.
Eagle Nation, it's A.J. Brown, man. I'm checking in after the NFC Championship with champions. But we want so much more, man. We want so much more, man. That's just eye candy, man. We want it all, man. I see you in Arizona, man. Be loud. We love y'all. Let's go.
So that's AJ. I don't know if that's like from the Philadelphia Eagles Twitter account or Instagram page. Either way, AJ Brown getting excited about the opportunity to play for a Super Bowl. Just called the NFC Championship game eye candy. And listen, he gets to feel that way. Now, on the other side of things, there's the Cincinnati Bengals. And while Titans fans have a particular distaste about Cincinnati, there's one player in particular who's been not earning himself very many friends as of late. That's Eli Apple, who's just currently the subject of this last play that has caused a penalty and allowed Kansas City to gain a first down on 3rd and 9. LeSean McCoy, Shady McCoy, was talking about the Eli Apple situation. Obviously, he's been going at the Bills all week long on social media, and that, has not terribly engendered too much goodwill.
Great. Hey, and I'm going to give Pat Bev some respect. They were trying to compare Eli Apple to Pat Bev. I said, hold up. Now, right now, Pat Bev might not be doing a lot, and he do a lot of trolling. I said, but Pat Bev got a first-team all-defense.
Yeah, he do.
Where Eli Apple, first-team defense, and he was a journeyman. He was cross seas, and he got his stuff together.
Yeah.
Compared to Eli Apple was with the 10th pick in the first round, and year 7 he's been on 4 teams. They different. And he got no all-pros. He got 0 Pro Bowls. I mean, like, he barely could pick his own number. So my thing is, like, they different levels of ball players.
You said that man could barely pick his own number, Shady.
Yeah, like, we gonna give you
You got to
30.
explain that. You got to.
Oh, you look like you're a 32. Take that. You're kind of tall. You'll look good in 28. Take that. 42. Come on, man. This how bad you got to be. You're the 10th pick, right, in the first round. In the second year, they get rid of you in the second year?
Bro, it was bad. I played with him.
I forgot you was.
So that's LeSean McCoy, the audio courteous of Sirius XM. Eli Crapple or Crabapple, I don't know what you're trying to do there. Jibo Hedges on YouTube. But yes, neither are terribly likable for a local rooting interest, but I do think that there is more investment in seeing the Philadelphia Eagles advance if you're a Titans fan. However you feel about AJ, Brett Kern, who did not have a good day today for Philadelphia, to see Brett Kern get a Super Bowl ring after so many years here, I think you actively root for that. I know a lot of people will have mixed emotions about it, and if it's not your team, then you're not cheering them on. But I think to a certain extent, if you had to pick between the lesser of two evils, Philadelphia kind of strikes me as that for you guys. But I can't, I don't pretend to speak for all of you guys. I know everybody has particular opinions on this. Let's wrap things up with this is a free site, the best thing that I saw on the internet this weekend. The question is quite simple that producer Robert has put together. Which NFL player would you least like to get in a fight with? Now, there's a variety of different players you can choose from. Let's keep it to active NFL players at this time. But there was a couple of dust-ups, to use Jack Del Rio's terminology, a couple of dust-ups in today's games. Players who you would least like to see on the delivering end of a punch. I think there's a lot of different players in the NFL, given that they're all giant rage monsters, that you could pick from, but one in particular struck me today. We will do that, of course, right after I remind you that AtoZSports Primetime is made possible by Superbook Sports. Download the Superbook app today, and they will match your first bet up to $1,000, win or lose. There is no better place for you to get in on the action than the Superbook Sports app. They'll match your first bet up to $1,000, as I mentioned, and they always have the best odds boosts and promo bets out there, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, or every other major sport. Superbook Sports is always there for you. So download the Superbook app today. Go to superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. So, who would you least like to get in a fight with at this point? Big Jeff says Major Keys. Yes, Jeff Simmons. I feel like, well, Jeff has spit on players before, which is a particularly disrespectful thing. If you guys remember Marshall Yanda a couple of years ago, I believe there was another incident with the Cincinnati Bengals offensive lineman, Ted Karras, where he was accusing Jeff of, spitting on him during a game. Now, that is a particularly nasty habit to have, and it's not necessarily the most physically threatening, but Jeff obviously is capable of doing significant damage should he choose to, and to be spit on after the fact feels particularly disrespectful. For Stephen King, he says, I'd avoid Ndamukong Suh. He fights dirty. That's right. For all of you who remember him cleating an offensive lineman for the Packers right in the bicep a couple of years ago. He's, taken an errant leg swing at Jay Cutler's crotch before. And Ndamukong Suh always has a few extracurriculars after the whistle and is also a giant of a human being. Lane Johnson, the right tackle for the Eagles, whose literal first job in high school was a grave digger and who plays like an absolute sociopath. I think Lane Johnson would be top of the list to me. But then I saw Trent Williams pick up another NFL player today and toss him to the ground, body slam him to the ground like a grown adult would a plaything, a rag doll, a literal rag doll. Is what Trent Williams did today to one of the Eagles defenders.
At the bottom, the officials, they see big old 65 trying to pull it. Oh, now we're getting serious now. Trent Williams has had enough. Trent Williams has entered the party, and San Francisco's cleared their bench, but right now.
And it's not the first incident, right? We, of course, go back to Trent Williams for Washington, I guess, racial slurs at the time, Commander Skins football team. His tenure there before he was traded to San Francisco, where we also know that he has gotten into altercations.
Hey, what you gonna do, boy? I'm gonna punch you in your... Hey, do it then, boy.
Richard Sherman laughing like the Joker. Can we get that one more time, please?
Hey, what you gonna do, boy? I'm gonna punch you in your... Hey, do it then, boy.
Right. Giggling like a psychopath. This is why you cannot mess with these people, because they are all crazy. Ben Hall says, arrest him. It's the Adam Schefter, Mason Rudolph, Myles Garrett tweet, right? Literal assault, which is basically everything that happens on a football field. Everything on a football field could be considered assault, but it happens between the whistles, and then outside the whistles when you do the football thing. It is considered, potentially a felony, depending on the severity of the situation. That's why we love this sport, because they'll beat the living hell out of each other legally at times and, for all of our entertainment. Would y'all want to get stiff-armed by Derrick Henry, says Big Dog on YouTube. The stiff arm is a particularly disrespectful move because it displays a level of futility for a grown man trying to tackle another grown man that, will live on forever in infamy, especially when Derrick does this thing where sometimes he will physically pick somebody up as he stiff arms them or bounce them off the turf like a basketball because he stiff arms them with such force. It is the most disrespectful thing humanly possible, I would say, but I think I would rather get stiff armed, with pads on than what happened with Trent Williams, which is Trent Williams just punched Richard Sherman in the face. No helmet on at all. None of these things would feel good. I can't imagine a situation where anybody would select any of these things unless, it's for a significant amount of money. And then even then it has to be enough money to cover your hospital damages because God knows you're going to walk away with some kind of problem after the fact. But given that this game is tight and that it is the middle of a Sunday afternoon, the fourth quarter, under 9 minutes to play, getting ready to go under 8, tied 20-20, we will get back to the AFC Championship game. We will talk about the Super Bowl matchup tomorrow on the radio show for 3 hours, 10-1 on 104.5 The Zone. Producer Robert, on his first show with us, has done exceptionally well, so we welcome him to the proceedings and all of the shenanigans that he will bring. I'm sure it's not going to be distracting to me at all watching him in a small box in my screen while also being mother effed by you guys on a regular basis. I'm sure that's not going to bog me down professionally whatsoever. Either way, we're going to have a great time. Enjoy what remains of your weekend. Enjoy what remains of the football. And we will see you tomorrow night on AtoZSports Prime Time.
Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal a show.